Searching for music for your next video?
God, there's an ad.
Then you need to check out our list.
I'm gonna skip this, y'all. Let me get started in a minute. I'm signing in on my work laptop. is on the home computer. Sure. We'll get started in a second here. All right. Oh, another ad. I think this is gonna be the last song.
Hey man, the deadline for the commercial is
Hey, Friday morning.
to play some music some mornings when I'm getting myself situated for work. I don't have to actually start until a few hours, but it always takes a minute for my computer to get up and running and all that stuff. So anyway, y'all, listen, I want to talk about something, okay? And this is just me sharing my honest opinion. Look, there's a reason why pretty much any book that talks about the way people should move and operate discusses the importance of moving in stealth. Because when you do things publicly, you then have to be concerned about winning in the court of public opinion. Okay? Let me tell y'all something. Some of the stuff we're observing on YouTube right now is not necessarily going to go the way, hey, love him, is not necessarily going to go the way that certain people are assuming. And I'm going to tell you why. Because sometimes a win can still be a loss. Because say you're disputing something anywhere, whether it's your job, legally, wherever. If you do it privately, that's one thing. But when you make it known to other people, you then have to understand that there's always an unknown variable when you're dealing with people. And that's the fact that you never know what people are thinking and feeling. So even if you win in one arena, you can lose in terms of the way that the people observing the situation feel. And that's how we end up inadvertently creating martyrs. Right? I'm just saying, y'all, something we really, really have to think about. Hey, Mika. Something we really have to think about. Now, I know when it comes to YouTube and social media in general, a lot of times it's a public forum, right? So a lot of times people gain a group of supporters by speaking out or sharing their opinions on certain things. So I get that part of it. I get that all of us have moments where we feel like we need to protect ourselves. We need to protect our images and our brands. What I'm saying is, like, if I had an issue or a concern with someone, right? When I discuss that publicly, I have to understand everyone's not going to agree with me. Certain people are going to have their own opinions. And since I addressed it publicly, people do have the right to respond publicly. So if I were to have a conversation in a private space, the people in those spaces might be more like-minded. But when I do it on here, or if I did it on a public Facebook page or a public Twitter page, guess what? I may lose in the court of public opinion. So that's what I mean when I say some of this stuff we're observing is not going to go the way some of y'all think it's going to go. Because even if you win in one arena, if the court of public opinion is against you, you can still lose in other ways. You can still lose in other ways. That's all I really had to say. Sometimes I feel like as Black women in general, we're too public in some of our conversations. You know, sometimes we have to learn how to think about the long-term consequences of dealing with certain things publicly. Okay? You deal with it publicly. You can't get upset if 5, 10, 15 years later, people are still commenting on that situation because you did it in public. Listen, I got the feeling, I got a pretty gut feeling, okay, that this shit ain't gonna go how you want to go. Yeah, Mika, move in silence so we can win. Because in this day and age, you don't have to be right, okay, to have people on your side. You just have to have enough people who agree with you. So whether you're wrong or another person or another group is wrong, what will prevail is how the court of public opinion feels. So one example of that is this whole situation with Lela Rochon. I personally believe that it's absolutely wrong for her husband to cheat on her. I believe that it's wrong for Nicole Murphy to involve herself in another couple's marriage. And I think she's lying when she said she didn't know they were married because they were family friends. And they're Black people in social circles in Hollywood. So they probably all know of each other. But guess what? In the court of public opinion, you have people who believe, well, you know what? Lela let herself go. They feel like, okay, her husband has a nice shape. You know, Nicole Murphy is a beautiful woman. So people, you know, they're ignoring the fact that Lela Rochon has lupus, which depending on the severity of a person's lupus, like it can be debilitating. Like they can have moments where everyday tasks can be extremely difficult and painful for them. But guess what? For some people in the court of public opinion, even though it's morally wrong for a man to cheat on his wife, in the court of public opinion, they're saying, well, you know what? This is a man with money and with access to women who are more in shape. And so you have people out here who really feel, well, Lela should have found a way to keep her body together, even though it is quite possible that since she has lupus, it's possible that either her condition or her medication would make it difficult for her to be a candidate for cosmetic surgery. But in the court of public opinion, you got a lot of people who don't think about the morality of it. And it's the same thing with a lot of these situations that are playing out on YouTube. Okay, let me look at the chat. Hey, Rochelle. You're right, Mika. Non-Black women do make huge moves in silence. Yep, and they talk about it once they've handled things in private. Perfect example of that is how they handled the whole situation with MGTOW. Before anybody knew what was going on, they had worked with the Southern Poverty Law Center to have MGTOW classified as hate speech. That's why the men who align with that thinking no longer use MGTOW in their titles or their hashtags. Because since it's now officially hate speech, you know, they could deal with being flagged and stuff like that. Or YouTube would automatically remove certain videos or possibly channels. Had non-Black women spoken about that publicly, they would have created room for the men in those spaces to mount a defense against them. Or, you know, they could have gone to organizations like the ACLU and said that it was a violation of their free speech. for people to try to silence them. But because those women moved in stealth, it was like, damn. That just came out of nowhere. And I do think that as Black women, there are certain moves that we don't need to address publicly, because when you do, you give people room to mount a defense. You have to deal with the court of public opinion, which frankly is not always going to be on our side, okay? And even if you win against a person or a group that you have a disagreement with, guess what? You can win in one arena, but in the court of public opinion, you still have to deal with the fact that there may be people, and there may be large numbers of people, who disagree with you. And that disagreement and possible resentment is going to be there after you win the temporary battle. Because one thing that I've had to learn just in life in general, right? If multiple people are disagreeing with me for the same reason, that's something I have to look at. So if I'm having conversations on social media and there are multiple Black women that hear those conversations, and multiple Black women come to me and say, okay, at moments I agree with what you're saying, but at other moments you sound like this, I have to pay attention to that. Because if multiple people are feeling the same way, maybe it's time for me to check myself. Which I have done in certain instances. Okay? And I don't have a problem with people giving me feedback, whether it's positive or negative. Hey, mind over matter. Why? Because I understand, like I said, I can win in one arena and lose in other ways that I didn't anticipate. Thank you for the like and the dislike. I can lose in other ways that I didn't plan for, other ways I didn't think about, other ways I wasn't prepared for. And in this day and age of social media branding, like it or not, if any of us want to eventually get to the place where we could be considered a brand, whether it's on YouTube or anything else, we have to take into account how we're perceived. We have to understand that, okay, if we fight certain battles publicly, we have to deal with the consequences of that. Thanks, mind over matter. You said, don't worry about the masses. They get it wrong sometimes. Follow your heart. But it shows you are humble to be introspective. I appreciate that. I mean, I get that the masses get it wrong. I just feel like if I bring certain things to the public, I have to deal with the fact that I may not win in that court. Yeah, love him. I always have like 1 to 7 people who thumbs down. It's kind of funny at this point. Because people don't understand that user ratings, whether it's a like or dislike, are a good thing. So it actually helps drive more traffic to the channel. You're right, mind over matter. You said don't cast your pearls upon swine. I'm just saying that when it comes to certain fights, we as Black women, not just me, but we as Black women in this space have to be very careful about bringing them to the public. You know? Very, very, very careful. Because I'm telling y'all, some of the things that we're observing right now, there's going to be some unintended reactions and consequences that I don't think that people are really thinking about. You know what I mean? I'm telling you. Because this is the thing that we all have to understand right now. We're not just dealing with the typical group of people who aren't going to be happy with the messages in these spaces. Because they are aligned with larger platforms, it's kind of like, it's not, I don't think that people realize it's not going to be as easy of a fight, if you will, as it has been in the past. I have a private Facebook group, Mind Over Matter. I can, let me put the link here. I'll put the link to my public Facebook page, and I think there's something on there that shows how to get to my private group. That group, I keep it really small. I think it's super duper small, but I like it there. My like page is it's growing a little bit, so I like that too. Let me see. Yeah, here it goes. So this is my like page, and then if you go to groups, it'll show you my group. And oh, that's awesome, love them. I'll join your Patreon. I'll join your Patreon. I have such a hard time, like, consistently making content on Facebook and Twitter. I think if I added Patreon right now, I don't think I would have enough content for everywhere that I'm on right now. But if you are on Patreon, I will gladly join you on there. Because there's certain stuff I'll probably talk about in my Facebook group that I won't discuss on here. So anyway, y'all, that's all I really wanted to talk about. I know it's pretty early, but I'm just letting y'all know as we're sitting back and observing certain things, telling y'all some of this shit ain't gonna go the way people are expecting it to go. Okay? It's just not. And like I said, even if it does, the long-term consequences may not be worth a short-term victory. All right? Anyway, y'all, I am going to finish getting myself started for the day. My work laptop has frozen for a reason, so I'm hoping I can get that situated before the time I have to sign in for work. I hope you all have a good Friday. And I hope you enjoy your weekend if I don't speak to you between now and Monday. And I'll talk to you soon. Bye.